Happy Saturday evening to you, YouTube. The greatest of all the days of the week. Leafs, Canucks for the second time in a row. My son asked me after the first game, he's like, Dad, do you think the Leafs will beat the Canucks down again in the second game? And I said, I think they'll win. I don't think it'll be quite as bad as the first game. I think the Canucks will have a better game and have a bit of a response, even if they lose. And even though they did lose 5-0, they still were better than they were in the first game against the Leafs. But yeah, Toronto's just on such a roll right now, and Vancouver is on such not a roll right now that it just they just couldn't keep up with the Leafs. The Leafs came out in the first period, and it looked like it was going to be just a continuation of that first game for the first 13, 14 minutes of the first period. The Leafs were all over them. Canucks kind of got their legs under them in the last 6 or 7 minutes. It turned into a more even type of game, but it didn't matter. The Leafs scored about almost 5 minutes in. Wayne Simmonds, who just continues to be such a good acquisition for the Leafs. They were just working it around the zone, and I think Marner put it down to Wayne. He was just to the right of Braden Holtby at the crease, and he wanted to go cross crease to Matthews, who was on the other side, but a defenseman had gone down to block the pass, thinking that, as long as I block the pass to Matthews, we'll be all right. And then Wayne continued to spin and fire a really tight, close-in shot so far up, top corner in the net and under the bar, that everybody was kind of like, holy shit, right? So he snuck one in there, a really hard, accurate shot, and that was the 1-0 Leaf lead. Almost 10 minutes later, Matthews struck. The Canucks were pushing back a bit, but it didn't really matter. The Leafs were they were kind of chipping their way through the neutral zone and sloppily gaining the Vancouver line, and it kind of came free just inside the blue line for a second, and Matthews was kind of trailing the play, and he just burst through, picked up the loose puck, dangled by a defenseman who basically just turned into a living pylon, and then he went top glove on Holtby for a 2-0 Leaf lead. It was a really great goal, really pretty, and it was a good example of how Matthews can dangle and make people look stupid, and then just place a beautiful hard wrist shot wherever he wants it, sort of thing, right? So that was the first period. Second period, Leafs extended the lead to 3-0. Hyman, I think this was about 7 something minutes in a typical kind of Hyman goal. He was in the blue paint. He took a cross crease pass from the left side from, I think it was Marner maybe, or no, it was Lettinen, the Leaf defenseman, the rookie, who had received a pass from Marner as they entered the zone and slipped one through the crease, and Hyman just kind of was there to clean up the garbage and put it in. So 3-0 Leafs. Vancouver did score, but it was disallowed because they challenged, and it was ruled to be offside before they scored, so that took the goal back. So Freddie's shutout was still intact going into the third, and the Leafs would strike twice more, and it was two familiar faces from the first period. Matthews got the first goal on this one. It was kind of a puck got sent into the Vancouver zone down the left side, and it was kind of a race between the Vancouver defenseman and one of the Leaf forwards, and Holtby decided to take things into his own hands, and he came out and put the puck high off the glass, and but Matthews had been sneakily edging his way into the play, and he snuck by the Vancouver winger Miller and picked up the puck before he could, and then just went in and he slipped one of those low along the ice kind of push shots underneath Holtby. That surprised him and made it 4-0. Really, those low shots, he doesn't even seem to shoot it. It's just kind of like a push, and which I think takes goalies by surprise, because there's not even really any sort of wind up to it. It's just crazy. And then the final goal of the game was scored by Wayne Simmonds again, and this one was Leafs were working around the zone, came back to Lettinen at the point. He let one go. Wayne was in his usual spot in front of the net, got a stick on it, tipped it past Holtby, a great tip, and that was the 5-0 lead. And sorry, did the Leafs? No, Vancouver did get one. Sorry, they didn't lose 5-0. They lost 5-1. Vancouver would sneak one in late in the period to break Freddie's shutout. Unfortunately, he could have used that, but either way, 1 goal, 0 goals. It's mostly all the same, other than the SO on his stat line that he doesn't get. So, Leafs really played a pretty good game. Vancouver's grade A chances were few and far between. I think they finished with maybe 27, 28, 29 sort of shots. Leafs had a couple more shots than them, so it did end up being more of an even game. But I think Vancouver, with how lousy they've been playing, they just don't have any confidence. They don't have any mojo going. Whereas the Leafs seem to be playing. They seem to be playing really well at every aspect of the game. Their power play is tops in the league, tied with Dallas, or was before the game anyways. Their penalty kill seems to be really good. Freddie seems to be getting on board, and putting his slow start kind of behind him this year, and getting things going a little better, a little sooner. Their defense is much improved, and then of course they've got this toughness up front now, and they just seem to all be clicking. They had a thing during the game about Matthews and Marner and how they've been playing together since Sheldon Keefe took over, and they just seem to have this innate sense of where each other is on the ice, and that it seems like they've been playing together for years. And tonight's game was just another example of that, how dialed in both of them were, and how often they struck alongside each other to create these primo scoring chances, right? And it's amazing that Babcock never put these two together. Like, and he was so stubborn in his ways that even though everybody was calling for him, like fans and media and stuff, were like, why aren't you playing these guys together? At least giving them a chance, right? And even when things were going rough and stuff, he still wouldn't do it. So it's kind of nice that he's gone, to be honest. I was excited when the Leafs signed him years ago, because the scuttlebutt was that he was a really good coach, but it turns out he was kind of a dick and quite stubborn and stuff. So you have two weapons like that. Why wouldn't you let them play together at least every once in a while? If you want to keep your attack spread more amongst all the lines, I see that. Like, I see the sense in that, but I also see sometimes that combining them might be a good thing to do, right? So, but Keefe has no hesitation to put those two guys out together, and that's kind of their line now, right? So, and it's paying dividends for them. Like, it's the proof's in the pudding, so to speak. So yeah, they both played really well. Hyman had another hard-working game. One thing that's really Simmons had a really good game. He's fitting in well on that second line with Nylander and Tavares, with the injury to Thornton moving things around on the top two lines, so he's fit in well there. One revelation that's come along in the past couple games is Keefe has retooled his fourth line a little bit, and he's brought up Nick Petan, who has played the last couple games and hadn't played a game for the Leafs in quite a while. They acquired him maybe sometime at early last season or something. I can't remember. But and he played a few games here and there, but he didn't really get much time. But they brought him up and put him on the fourth line with Spezza and Travis Boyd, who was a recent acquisition and has played a few games. And the three of them seem to really work well together. And I noticed a few times tonight that when the Leafs did get bogged down a little bit on the odd time that Vancouver did get some stuff going, Keefe would put them out to try and stabilize things and just get them out there and have a really good kind of energy shift that could kind of turn the tide and switch the momentum. And I found they did that quite a few times tonight. They just went out and kind of banged around and brought a lot of energy and shifted the momentum a bit, right? So so that's huge that their fourth line's clicking really well, because their top two scoring lines are fantastic. They've got a really good third line. And obviously with the addition of Bogosian and Brody on defense, and Travis Dermott is hurt. That's why Mikko Lehtonen, the rookie, has been playing. But he's looking really good, and he picked up a couple of assists tonight. So he's got a few points in the handful of games that he's played, and he doesn't look like a rookie at all. He looks really good. So this is a team that I've said it a couple times. This is, I think, the Leaf team we've finally been looking for. The balance across the board on this team. Plus, I think a big difference is that guys like Matthews and Marner, the core young players, have been through 5 or so seasons now, and they've lost in the first round of the playoffs all those seasons. And I think they've finally started to really develop that hockey wisdom and maturity and the experience they've gained. They kind of know how it goes now, right? They know, their window probably isn't all that open for how long they can keep the team this competitive with all the salaries they're going to have, and that they do need to strike when they can, and start the season hot, and maintain a consistency in order to have success and stuff. So I think everybody's getting it, and the team is really looking good right now. Now, they did play Vancouver twice, and Vancouver's been terrible this year, but they've played everybody else really well. So even the first few games of the season, when everybody was adjusting and stuff like that, they still managed to scrape out wins when they were figuring things out, and they weren't quite as good as they are right now. So, it's just a team that is really, finding their way successfully and getting things done. So it's a very exciting time. It's a very exciting year because of the Canadian division, which is awesome. So, let's hope the Leafs can keep it up. They got one more game against Vancouver before I think Montreal's their next one after that. So hopefully they can feast on the Canucks on Monday night one more time, add a couple more points to the bank like they did tonight, and then go in for a battle against Montreal, who is the other front runner in the Canadian division, and obviously a team that I hate very much, and would very much like to see the Leafs beat them for the second time this season. So until Monday, enjoy all of the hockey.